Executive coaching and mentoring. 5 ways to sustainably enhance senior employee productivity. As a small business owner or an executive leader of a mid-sized or large company, you need to take special care of your senior employees, those a few floors below the C-suite. From country heads to managers of such departments as human resources, finance, operations, and legal, your senior staff represents a pivotal link between the company's executive leadership and the rank and file. Find out how to develop your mid-level managers so they can help boost your company's reputation, sales, brands, and overall productivity. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. How are you doing today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous. If you are doing as terrific as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka. Let's roll. Today we want to talk about executive coaching and mentoring, and I'm going to give you 5 ways to sustainably enhance senior employee productivity. Number 1, assess employee strengths and improvement areas. This is something you want to do periodically. So what I'm talking here is you can evaluate your employees, your senior employees, the fortes and improvement areas of those employees on a periodic basis, and there are several ways to do that. You can do this through performance evaluation. So every month or every quarter, every 6 months or every year, you're able to talk to the employee and see what's really happening in terms of their development plan. You can also do a one-on-one with executive leadership. So the senior managers of the company, I'm talking the CEO, the CFOs, the COOs, will have to sit one-on-one with promising mid-level executives and trying to have a conversation with them. That way, the senior management team also has an idea of the depth or the depth and the breadth of the talents that is currently available within the company. You can also assess the employee strengths and improvement areas through feedback from in-house mentors, right? Whether your company is small or mid-size or large, usually, if you don't have it already, you want to have it. Usually you want to have some kind of a internal mentorship program so that employees are constantly developed, they're constantly trained, they're constantly given advice to. So if your senior employees, if you want to know where they are in terms of skills, in terms of capabilities, in terms of interpersonal skills, in terms of soft skills, talk to their respective in-house mentors. The next place where you can get great feedback about a senior employee's strengths and improvement areas is from the employee himself or herself through self-assessment results. So periodically and there are several ways you can do this. You can do this in a worksheet. You can do this. There is software that helps companies identify areas where they can improve their employees or areas that employees are doing great already. So whether you're using an Excel worksheet or a software developed worksheet, give your employees a way to self-assess and do this every quarter. And you're giving the employee the ability to reflect on his or her own skills. That's great. Step number 2, define a development plan for senior managers. So once you assess the employee's strengths and improvement areas, it is important to reach out to the employee and find a way to agree on a common development plan. You need to agree on that. In the development plan, you need to think about a few things. The company's goals, because the last thing you want is to have an employee develop a development plan that does not sync with your company's goals. You are investing in a company. You are investing in your employee. You are investing in their future, and you want them in return to boost your company's reputation, brand, and overall productivity. The development plan for senior managers should also be in sync with the job goals. So if, for instance, you're talking to the head of the human resource department, you want to make sure that whatever priorities, whatever goals, whatever processes you include into that development plan fit with the role of a human resources manager. Same applies for the finance chief, the accounting department chief, or the technology chief, and that has to be done in sync with their immediate supervisor. So, for instance, if you're talking to the manager of the accounting department, you want to make sure everything is done in tandem and under the tutelage of the CFO, the chief financial officer of the company, right? So this is important. That duality, the duality is very important. Duality meaning like one aspect is about the job itself, and the other aspect is about the supervisor of the person taking care of that job in that position. You also, when you define a development plan for senior managers, you have to fill any skill gap. How do you identify the skill gap? The skill gap is very simple. You look at the company goals, and then you look at the job goals, and you ask yourself, does this individual have the goals required to the skills required to succeed in this particular goal, in this particular job, right? So you want to make sure that in the end, and ideally, the employee has the skills to succeed in the role. And how do you fill any skill gap? You can fill that through training, through coaching, through mentoring, through networking, and you can actually, there is something called giving back in-house, an in-house giving back program, or an in-house philanthropic program, if you want to call it that way. It's very simple. It means that you give senior managers, senior employees the opportunity to train, tutor, mentor, and coach junior staff. That way they're able to give back too. And it works wonderfully, because sometimes, and this has been shown by research, you learn a lot by teaching someone. Step number 3, enroll managers on a fast track program. If you have identified a cluster of managers that you believe represent the next level of executives at your company, now is the time to start to put them on the fast track program. These managers should be special managers. I call them special managers. Those are managers that you are very sure they can give back to the company. They should promise. They are very motivated. They're very dedicated. And the fast track program is very simple. You can do it in-house. So you can work in conjunction with the HR department, with the senior leadership and the legal department and other relevant stakeholders within the company to devise a fast track program. The fast track program is just a document, a 1-pager or a 2-pager. It's just a document summarizing the strategy that the company has to identify, promote, and reward. Identify, promote, and reward, the IPR system, to reward those employees who are showing promise and who are interested in going further down the line in terms of their careers, in terms of moving up the ladder, in terms of the hierarchy within the company. So that's in-house. So you can do the fast track program means you also need to have some trainings. So those trainings can be, again, taken care of internally, or you can have a fast track program outside. So how does it look like? You can enroll your senior employees in university programs. You have something called executive MBA programs or executive leadership programs that are offered by universities globally, whereby your senior employees go to those. They go on campus. So it's usually a mix of a combo of online and offline interactions with the faculty. So they might do stuff on the internet and then travel to the physical campus of the university once every quarter. So you can do that. You can also have customized training for leaders within your company, and those customized workshops are developed by third parties. You have training services and training agencies that do the kind of work, customizing training for your leaders based on your specific needs. You can have town hall style meetings where those senior employees are are developed, they are trained, they are mentored, they are coached. You can also have a corporate retreat. If the company has the budget for it, I would advise you to, take one weekend or 1 week and go somewhere. It's a corporate retreat where the senior employees are pretty much detached from the everyday nitty-gritty, the everyday vicissitudes of corporate life, where they can focus on what they really need to learn. I'll be right back. Right after this, don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We're also having a conversation here around executive coaching and mentoring and 5 ways to sustainably enhance senior employee productivity. If you love the quality and clarity of today's show, please consider subscribing to our channel. We produce this kind of shows every single day, rain or shine, not just in executive coaching and mentoring, but in a wide area of topics. Number 4, give specific feedback periodically. It is important if you enroll an employee in some kind of executive coaching and mentoring, and you want them to enhance their productivity and performance down the line, you want to be specific in your feedback. And I'm talking about, there are 4 ways to do this. You want to give feedback that focuses on the job. So job specific feedback. Are they good at what they're doing right now? Are they technically trained? Do they have the capabilities to perform in the job? If you have an engineer, if you have the head of the engineering department, is he or she up to notch, up to speed in terms of capabilities, in terms of the latest and the greatest updates in the industry? So that's job specific. You can analyze also technical skills. Now, technical skills are those skills that you can learn. They are acquired. You can learn them. You can get them. The senior employee can get them through formal education. So going to school, taking a workshop, or he or she can get it through training. Also going to a seminar. The training can be in-house or outside. It doesn't really matter. You can also give specific feedback periodically on emotional skills. What are emotional skills? I'm talking here about interpersonal skills, leadership, teamwork, communication. Normally, at that level, senior employees should have communication and leadership skills. Otherwise, you really want to develop that. If you have a senior employee who does not have leadership skills or has to improve that level of things, that aspect of things, you want to invest ASAP in that employee. That's assuming, of course, if he or she is really good at what he or she is doing. So this is kind of important. And another way you can also give specific feedback periodically is through something called 360 reviews. So 360 reviews mean that you're getting feedback from the employees, from the senior employee's own direct report. So people working under him or her. You get feedback from the top, so from senior leaders of the company, feedback from from peers, so heads of other departments. And this is how you actually do that. Tip number 5. Here is the 5th way to sustainably enhance senior employee productivity. Seek feedback from employees themselves. So your senior employees, those that you're trying to move up the ladder, you need to get feedback from them directly. And you can do this through several ways. There's something called EDP worksheet. EDP stands for Employee Development Plan. And the plan I was speaking earlier about, that you can get the plan through Excel, or you can get the plan through a special software program. But it's very simple. You just have to list the skills, the capabilities, the competencies that are needed for the job, and what the employee already has versus what he or she needs to develop on. On that sheet, on the EDP worksheet, you want to identify 5 skills needed for the job. I'm talking leadership, team coordination, communication. It's up to you. You have to find out exactly what matters when we talk about the job, the specific job. And you also want to evaluate top skills and areas, as well as areas of improvement. In other words, when you have the EDP worksheet where you have a list of all the skills needed, then you can start evaluating. You can assess the skills that the employee is already good at, and where he or she needs to work harder. Make sure that you are very clear, and the there are ways, there are metrics you can use to assess that. So we're not talking here about just doing things randomly. There are ways, there are metrics, there are something called KPI, KSI rather. Yeah, KPI too, key performance indicators or key success indicators, KPI or KSI, where you can find out whether the employee is really good or whether he or she needs to do more improvement. One thing you have to be very clear though, please agree with the employee on what to do, on what needs to be done. If you have buy-in from the employee, the chances of success are higher because he or she has reviewed everything, is comfortable with the work that needs to be done, understand that this is part of his or her own development plan, and that works. One thing you also need to do is, please, on the when you seek feedback from employees, make sure that you are empowering the employee to come up with solutions and initiatives himself or herself. This is important. You don't want everything to be top down. There has to be some bottom up approaches too. And if you do it right, you will get all the best feedback possible. Now, this is number 6. Actually, we talked about this show is about 5 ways to sustainably enhance senior employee productivity, but we have this is more of a pro tip. This is a pro tip, not really a step, but it is also important. So think about it as a bonus tip here. You want to recognize, if you really want employees to be happy working for you or be just happy about working at the company in general and looking forward to moving up the ladder, you want to recognize them formally for improvement. And you can do so through job promotion. So if one employee is really making progress and you can see that they're very dedicated to the job, you want to promote them. You want to give them the chance to move up the ladder. You want to pay them right. You want to make sure that the compensation is competitive. You want to look at the perks, because at a certain level in a company, it's not just the money. If people are making 6 digits or 7 digits already, it's not just about the money. You have to look at the whole compendium, the whole continuum of benefits that you're offering the employees. Everything from parental leave to vacation to sick days to sabbatical leave. All of those things count. Insurance. So you have the monetary perks and the non-monetary perks. If an employee is making progress and has done wonderful things, extraordinary things, you want to give them awards. And the awards can be internal. The awards can be, employee of the month. I mean, the employee of the month has become too cliche, but it's up to you to find out what works within your company. So you can give internal awards or also external awards. External awards can come from the local chamber of commerce. Of course, you can suggest your employee for that kind of award if there is such an award locally. And so what I'm trying to say here is that you want to promote your employees locally, externally. The best ones are those who show promise. You can also send those employees, you can recognize them through official accolades. For example, you can have something called the Chairman's Award. You can welcome them into the Chairman's Club, the CEO Club. You can book lunch with the CEO of the company, with the owner of the company, or a prominent leader within the company. So the idea here is to make the employee feel good about the whole thing, the whole improvement, the whole process. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of Sweetie Kiwi. We are still we're about to finish to wrap up today's conversation. So I was talking to you about executive coaching and mentoring. And I gave you 5 ways to sustainably enhance senior employee productivity. And I also gave you a pro tip, a bonus tip on how to recognize employees formally for improvement. So the 5 ways are: assess employee strengths and improvement areas, define a development plan for senior managers, enroll managers on a fast track program, give specific feedback periodically, seek feedback from employees. And the last one, the pro tip, is recognize employees formally for improvement. I will see you next time. But until then, remember, stay splendid.